The King's Court is now in session, and that can only mean one thing. It is Talking Tuesday. And televisions, 10 TVs. Adam King is with me, Austin Ward, on the Austin and Berm Show. No Berm, just Adam King, because it's Tuesday. And these are my favorite kind of Tuesdays, Adam.
Listen, first of all, two things. I love my Tuesdays now. Okay. This is my favorite new tradition of my life. And before we dive in, I read every single comment. I want that to be clear. There are people that say, like, don't read the comments. No, every single one.
I told you not to do that.
Yes, and I read every one. And I'll tell you this. Somebody commented last week, tell Adam to knock off the TV shtick. This is me, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. This is just who I am. What you get is what you get. It's no...
we'll stay in the shot. How about that?
Well, it's no
That's
shtick.
A TV thing.
That is. See, I was just so relaxed.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because on Sunday, I called a loyal watcher of the program, my dad, for Father's Day.
Love it.
And he said, I love Talking Tuesdays.
Yes!
With television's Adam King.
Let's go.
He's got,
Mr. Ward, I love you.
He's got great passion. You guys have seemed like a lot of fun. I said, yeah, we sure do.
Yeah, we do. We genuinely enjoy it.
And sometimes we even have answers for the questions, but that's not what this version...
We still have to wait for like 80 days to have real answers.
Yeah, but this version of Talking Tuesday is what I like to call a hypothetical.
And I like this. I genuinely said to you when you teased this up, I'm excited.
Yeah, hypothetical Talking Tuesday. So it's a possibility. Anything can happen in the world of Ohio State athletics. It's probably not going to happen this week, but there's still a glimmer of hope that maybe some Buckeyes will have a press conference. Current Ohio State football players. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, doesn't matter.
Guess what?
We're just going to pick the ones that we would want to talk to and what questions we would ask them. So you get to start your draft order, Adam. Who must you talk to? If it was real.
This is interesting. I like how you're saying this, because now you've changed my mind. My first thought was like, I want to ask like Caleb Downs or Jeremiah Smith, how do you get better? Like I was talking to Terry McLaurin today. Mm-hmm. He was at a golf outing for Hope, put on by Chris Fields, former receiver. And he said he really thinks that Jeremiah Smith is going to take that next step this season.
Yeah.
And when he said it, I thought,
what does that look like?
Like, not that I don't think Jeremiah Smith is going to get, but like that's a terrifying concept.
Yeah.
And when you look at someone like Caleb Downs, like we ask so much about the unknowns of the world and like, how is this going to look? But how does the best in college football take their game even better? Because typically the best in college football don't walk back on a football field for another season, let alone two more.
Right.
And so, he said this offseason a little bit, he's trying to, be more of a vocal leader, but he's been the dude of the week, which I absolutely love. Been the dude of the week a couple times now. Like, he was an Iron Buckeye again. Like, what is this man going to look like that he's only getting better? That's what I want to ask him.
When was the last time you saw him? Because he's been out at a lot of these camps just wandering around, and he needs like security protection, by the way, at all times. Because
100%.
Everybody wants his autograph. Everybody wants a piece of J.J. Smith. I thought it was crazy a year ago. Berm was having this conversation that like by September, he was going to be the most famous player in college football. I said, come on.
Rein it in. That's what I kept saying. Rein it in.
That's too much.
Yeah.
Like we're going overboard. You're going overboard. But turns out he was right. And so I've had to continually admit that. And it wasn't because I didn't think.
Does that hurt a little bit?
No. Yeah. If I say no, then it lessens the pain because I'm lying to myself.
Yeah, there you go.
But we all saw him in spring. It was like, well, he's going to be really, really good. He's the most advanced true freshman maybe we've ever seen. But I remember going through this process with Garrett Wilson, and it was like, well, you have to learn how to do all the other things, and Brian Hartline has to trust you to take all these snaps. And it was like, well, that's not the case. Jeremiah is going to shatter every notion that you might have for what a true freshman can do. So, but to your point, now you have to carry that over and elevate. That's his goal. Jeremiah Smith will want to be even better. Brian Hartline will want to make him even better. Ohio State will want to catapult him to the next level. And what does that look like? I don't know, but you just watch him, the way he works. I think there's a different comfort level being out there at the Woody around these other high school kids, around his teammates. It's not new to him anymore. Mm-hmm. He's dealt with the fame, which is the question that I would have for him, which is like, how are you managing this superstardom?
So, sidebar, bigger star at this point, I'm going to give you three options. So right now, everywhere in their career, at their peak of their Buckeye career, and JJ right now, CJ Stroud, Marvin Harrison, Jeremiah.
In terms of national stardom,
yes,
Jeremiah is already past it. Don't you think?
I don't. Like, when asking that question seems insane. Like, I remember Marvin Harrison Jr. coming out of the spring game before his last season, and like, they were like, they had to like get a path to get that man out of there. And you're right. I think it's bigger than that at this point.
Yeah. And CJ probably doesn't, he probably doesn't even sniff the level of stardom that we're talking about here with first Marvin and now Jeremiah Smith, because there were other high level quarterbacks at that time. So he was kind of overshadowed. And, they're coming off the season where they didn't win the game, and Connor Stallions was stealing every signal that he made, and you were, filming the Michigan sideline and busting them in real time. So
have I ever told you, am I allowed another sidebar? I already used my one sidebar. Have I ever told you the story?
This is the King's Court.
You're right,
you make the rules. I don't make the rules.
I thought I only got one sidebar.
No.
I was telling someone the other day about this. The reason I found that video is because I finished my work like way too early in that day. And I like had my feet kicked up, and I was reading something online about the whole scandal, and I was like, I wonder if we got video of this dude. And I just went back to our video and I just started scrolling through every play. It was only like the 9th play. And if we're being honest here, I never went past the 9th play. I found that. I said, I have gold.
Got him.
I said, oh my goodness. I called my producer over. He said, oh my goodness. And And so I have never looked past the 9th play. We may have 8,000 of those. Who knows?
You told me that you spent 100 hours combing through footage. You lied to me.
Oh, I did go through the up cam first. So we have a camera up top. And I went through the whole game on the up cam. Yeah. But then when I got to that was where I was frustrated. It was like the 9th play of the game or whatever. We threw to a Mecca. I was like, I just started here. You're right. I forgot I went through the up cam first.
Yeah.
Yes. But that was just bored Adam.
Yeah. CJ.
Yeah, he had it all taken from him.
And the fascinating part, well, this is a sidebar to the sidebar, was that
you only get one.
Okay, sorry.
It's not your court.
CJ took a lot of criticism, and people didn't understand his personality, or they took exception during the career. I think once it ended, there became a very different level of appreciation 100%. For CJ Stroud than there was in real time. So, I think
it's a good way to put it.
Justin Fields, Chase Young that may be closer to that level of conversation. You weren't as into the circus on the beat as we were at that point. So
yeah, but I know
I'm not saying you weren't aware of it. I'm just saying
no. But I can say it from a different perspective, because I was in Missouri. I had not made it to Columbus at that time, but growing up a Columbus kid, I never missed a Buckeye football game. You're right. There was an aura with Justin Fields. There was an aura with Chase Young. CJ, you nailed it. CJ didn't get that aura until after the Georgia game.
Yeah, it was like, see,
yeah,
I told you.
Yes, and
then even the critics were like, well, see, we told you could run.
Yeah,
and he's like, well, that's not my fault.
And then he went to the Texans and did all that, and everyone was like, this man is the greatest man alive.
Yeah, he
was
awesome.
Always great.
He was always great. Even going back to the first time Berman and I met him in Rancho Cucamonga, California, I was like, this guy he's different.
Great man.
Different. Yeah, I mean, you have to start with Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs for this team. I don't think that's the correct choice. Although there are no wrong ones.
There are wrong ones.
But handling the stardom, the things that he is trying to do, both of them, that they're trying to do to get better, where it's like you're already at the top of your game. Mm-hmm. Ohio State is the best offensive player in America and the best defensive player in America. Maybe we could just ask them who's actually the better football player.
Who's better?
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
My number 2.
You took 2.
Huh? I guess, yes, I asked them both the same question. You're right. My number 3.
There we go.
Goes to a guy like Sonny Styles. And I want to ask Sonny, let me ask you this. Do we have a lie detector on these guys? Do they have to answer the question?
This is a hypothetical truth-telling.
Because I love Sonny, but Sonny is very good at and I don't know that you're actually going to get an answer from any of the defenders on this, but how different is this defense? You went through 3 years of the Jim Knowles defense implementing that. How much has changed this offseason? How much are you back into the playbook and back to learning new terms and back to learning new schemes? Or is this still the Jim Knowles defense, which is the Ohio State defense, and someone else is just tweaking it? I think that's what I really want to get. And I don't know if they tell you as much as we'd like to know, because I don't think they want to let on as much as...
Yeah, I think if that's your goal, you may have to be more selective about who you choose.
Yeah.
Because Sonny is going to give you a very diplomatic and insightful answer.
Yes.
But probably not the one that you're looking for. Whereas I would humbly submit to you.
I know who you're going to say.
Whose position might be different? Who is embracing a shift in coordinators?
Who's getting it wrong really well with Matt Patricia?
And if you could come up with a person who fits those criteria,
that would be.
They might speak their mind.
Maybe a guy who's just a really good guy, and finally going to show it.
That's criteria number 4.
Do you think people know who we're talking about yet?
Who am I talking? Is there a person that?
There's a guy on there.
Of course,
Jermaine Matthews.
I think he would tell you.
I think you'd get a good answer for Jermaine.
He actually checks those boxes. He's probably going to be playing in the nickel.
Yeah.
Seems to get along maybe better with Matt Patricia. I don't know. There was a give and take there with Jim Knowles. But Jermaine would tell you.
Yeah. I think there are a lot of guys.
Arvell Reese, I think, would probably tell you.
CJ would tell you.
But CJ Hicks would definitely tell you.
CJ's the best.
And I must put him down on that list.
I want to ask. The reason I picked Sonny is because I do feel like Sonny is just, they've taken Cody Simon and they've just moved it over. Like, here you go.
Here's 4 inches taller Cody Simon.
Everything that man did on the field and off the field, as a leader, as the voice of the defense, there you go.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he would be the one that would have the most on his back. I mean, he's the guy that's calling these plays out. He's going to have the green dot on his helmet. So he's probably got, because, and this is, I don't know the answer to this necessarily, but how much are the wide receivers? I mean, most of those guys are hearing their portion of the call and leaving the huddle.
Yeah.
And on defense, these guys are hearing their portion of the call and they're out. Okay, I know what I got to do on this play. For Sonny, he's got to know what everybody's got to do. And so how different is that than it was a year ago?
Yeah, I think significant would be my guess. And if you had asked me in February if I thought that was going to be the case, I'd say probably not. I mean, Matt Patricia can run any scheme, and Ohio State has recruited pretty specifically to one style of play. And I thought, well, Matt Patricia would adopt that, but he also has enough pieces like Arvell Reese, like Jermaine Matthews, like CJ Hicks that we've all talked. Like, just those guys there can all be used in different ways than maybe Jim Knowles. Not that he couldn't have, but certainly that he didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that there is going to be more versatility to the way that the scheme operates and the way that it looks than in years past. So, and I think any of those guys would weigh in on that. I mean, I think Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson could do the same thing. And we've sort of beaten a dead horse with the importance of Edric Houston and Caden McDonald. But really, anybody who's in that first 11 or the first 14 to 15 spots on the depth chart on the defense, there's going to be, I think, nuance and tweaks to their role. Maybe the only one who's going to be doing the same thing is Davison Igbinosun.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's a bunch of shifting around of duties, which I think is fun to watch because there's not a dip in talent. We can maybe look critically at the level of depth in certain spots, but overall, the pieces and the bones to be the number 1 defense in the country still exist there, which then puts a different spotlight on how Matt Patricia is going to use them. And we can tell just from 1 month of camps how well the acclimation period has gone on. They just cannot, the Buckeyes cannot stop hugging this man. And I've never seen anything like it.
I got the opportunity to go listen to Matt Patricia for about an hour. He spoke to the Ohio State aeronautics team.
He did what now?
Yeah, he's I don't know what you call him. They're building a drone that can rescue people from emergency situations. They're in some contest. I can't remember. Sloopy Works is what it's called.
Okay.
Boom. Pulled that out of somewhere.
There you go.
He spoke to Sloopy Works for an hour. For those of you that don't know, Matt Patricia has a degree in rocket science. He's a very smart man. And in listening to him for an hour talk about the crossover between football and engineering and rocket science, I realized this man is so much smarter than I could ever dream of being. Mm-hmm. 2, I'm ready to play. And it made sense to me why these guys are so all in.
Yeah.
When you hear this guy talk about the team aspect and tell story, I mean, It's just to the level of, if you're Sonny Styles right now, you've got a guy telling you stories and lessons in coaching that Teddy Bruschi was the one that he was having the conversation with.
Sure.
I mean, yet Malcolm Butler is at Ohio State's camp or at practice.
Yep.
These are guys, it's a true, here's my body of work. You can trust it or you don't. And I think it's really hard. A lot of people push back on Matt Patricia as a head coach. He is not a head coach here. He is a defensive coordinator. It's really hard to look at that body of work as a player and not say, this is the exact guy that I need to listen to get to where I want to get to. And through that hour, I thought to myself, like, this is why guys are so resonating with Matt Patricia and so close. I mean, you talk about every time we look at them, they're up there. They want to learn.
Yeah.
You talk about Jermaine Matthews and Jim Knowles kind of went back and forth and had some things out. These are guys that want to do the rep and then hear, hey, what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100%. Has that package aired, or did you just want to go listen to?
Oh no, this was like 2 weeks ago. It aired.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was very good. If you'd like, I have the full hour.
Okay,
I will get you a chair and some headphones, and you can listen.
Thank you. I mean, I think people would enjoy that.
It's.
I guess that'll be on 10 TV Plus.
You know what? We didn't consider putting it on. I will say for half of it, it's 1/2 hour of like, boy, this is really good, and then another half hour of, boy, I don't know any of those words, and I don't have any idea how an airplane gets off the ground. Still don't. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Plane heavy, sky, I don't get it, but he seems to.
So the engineers didn't want to know, like, if there were going to be more 3-man fronts, or
yeah, they did not ask about that. They cared more about the bolts used in a fighter jet or something. You know,
that's weird.
I know, and we got a chance to talk to him after, and
But you asked him.
I did not.
More odd fronts. You asked about airplanes?
I asked about airplanes.
Of course.
I held back.
All right.
Because we were there to talk about airplanes.
All right.
If you ask about the other thing, then you don't get to come the next time.
Well, I didn't get invited this time.
Well,
I guess they knew I would have asked.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have learned anything about planes.
I still know nothing. Again, plane big, heavy.
Uh-huh.
I don't understand how it flies. Something about physics?
Sounds like you need another hour.
Psychics? I don't know.
Psychics, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Give me one more hypothetical.
One more hypothetical question. I have any player on the roster. James Peoples.
Okay. What about him? Tell me.
What does the ideal scenario look like for you next year?
Okay.
I think there is a very real world that Quinshon Judkins and TreVeyon Henderson changed the future of Ohio State running backs. Because for so long and so much across the country, there is this idea that I'm the number one guy. I want to go to Ohio State. Give me the ball every single play. And TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins found a perfect balance.
Yeah.
And they both were incredibly successful. Look where they were picked. Look where they are in the NFL. They're both going to be starting running backs in the NFL. And so I want to ask James Peoples, are you okay? Like, in your mind, are you working every day to get 90% of the carries, 80% of the carries? Do I think that's going to happen? No. But is that your mindset? Or learning from those two, are you completely fine in maximizing the opportunities you get and coming in and sharing this load with Bo Jackson, maybe more than you would have a year ago? Because it is. I mean, it's such a different mindset. We saw when TreVeyon Henderson and Evan Pryor both came here, they were both highly sought after running backs.
Yeah.
And the question was, well, how are they both going to work? Now, obviously that ended.
They chose it. I think that's the most important part. You rightly give credit to both TreVeyon and Quinshon for managing that a year ago, but that was always what TreVeyon wanted.
Yeah.
Again, I'm telling another recruiting story. Back when we were able to do a lot more of those, before the world changed, it was right before COVID that we were in Virginia, Berm and I, talking to TreVeyon Henderson in his high school weight room, and we added this stop. We were going to film Evan Pryor's commitment video. He was like, you guys might want to stop by and see TreVeyon too. I was like, okay, how are they going to take both of them? Well, they both came at it from a perspective of, we're trying to get to a second NFL contract. Mm-hmm. We don't want to have to take 400 and 500 carries a year every year in college. That's not good for our bodies. It's probably not good for our college football team or an offense in general. So I think Travion was always ahead of the curve. He found somebody else who was like-minded in Quinshon Judkins, and now did they pass that on, to your point, to James Peoples and Bo Jackson and C.J. Donaldson? Right. Like, do you see the value? Are you buying into that? Is that different than what you felt as a senior in high school and you were going through the recruiting process? You know, did you always feel like this was inevitable or the way that you want to do it? It's a great point.
I just, and I think in that role, buy-in is everything, because I do think there is a running back out here and that says, no, I want every carry. Give me the ball. I want the touchdowns. And that's not wrong. But I do think if you have that guy and you're only giving him 50% of the snaps, then you've got a problem. Then you've got anger in the room and frustration. So I would ask James People, again, we're on a lie detector, because I think he would give the right answer, which would say, I'm glad to. But actually, have you shifted that mindset? Are you excited that Bo Jackson and Donaldson are behind you to better allow you to maximize your opportunities as opposed to maximizing your carries?
Yeah. Well, you still have to prepare as if you're going to get 90% of the carries. I mean, you're going to play this position at Ohio State with the value, the significance of carrying the football for this program. Like, you better have a preparation level that gets you to a point that you could take 500 carries if you need to, because there's no guarantee that C.J. Donaldson, James Peoples, Bo Jackson, everyone stays healthy. And we've seen that in other years. Ohio State was really fortunate last year that they did not have to deal with that. We've seen other years not that long ago where they're getting into November and it's like, do you think we can convert that linebacker back over to running back again? Or how are we going to get through this game?
You think that tight end can play linebacker?
Yeah.
You think we can give Mayan Williams the ball in the national championship?
Wow. Yeah, off the bench when he hasn't had it.
When he was brand new.
I mean, Chip Traynham was supposed to be focused solely on playing linebacker. It's like, no, you got to come back over here. There's just not enough bodies to go around. So like that has to be the thing. When you preface that by saying, how are you preparing? It's got to be that you want that you're in position to take every carry, but the mentality is different.
Now you've given me the PR answer. Well done. See, you could do this, because you're right. I did say, how are you preparing? And that's what he would say. I prepare like I need the ball. I'm getting the ball every play.
Well done. That's the beauty is that
it's the backup quarterback answer. You got to prepare like you're starting every game. That's how I am. Like, I'm going in the next.
See, this is the first season that you and I have done Talking Tuesdays. It gives us a chance to work through the issues in our questions.
Yeah.
It's a workshop opportunity.
This is great.
It's like, is that going to work?
Duly noted. And now what's going to happen is we'll never get to talk to him. I'll have it ready. I'll be waiting, or everybody will ask their 55 questions and they'll be like, all right, and that's enough for people. And I'll be like, wait, I wrote it down.
Maybe we'll just ask him later on Tuesday, because there's one more one-day recruiting camp left for Ohio State this month. The time has gone fast. We'll be back out there at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, Berm and me. Maybe Adam King in a suit. Is
that tomorrow?
Yeah. Well, I mean, today.
Oh, it's today. It is today. Talking Tuesdays.
I vowed to give up that gag, but I can't. I can't quit it.
No, it's today.
They said that I need to be more transparent about when we're recording.
I read every comment.
I really wish you just don't tell me all the bad stuff they say about me. I can't handle it. I'm too sensitive.
All right, I have a notebook, all the notes for Austin. Anything else you want Austin to know, I'll let him know.
Okay, great. Thank you. Make sure that you do that wherever you're watching. If it is on 10 TV Plus, 97.1 The Fan, anywhere YouTube that you download. Yeah, YouTube, we're there. We're all over YouTube.
We're everywhere.
And all audio platforms, you can get it there if you want to take us to go with you. Thanks for joining us on a Talkin' Tuesday. It was great, once again, to get some thoughts from the King Television's Adam King. I am merely Austin Ward, and we'll see you again next Tuesday. And also, later on Tuesday, maybe some snap judgments, and then the beat with Berm breaking down some recruiting stuff on Wednesday. We'll see you there.